Welcome to the new Vaudeville Revue, coming from the beautiful Colonial Theater in downtown Belfast. This show is made possible with the generous support of the following sponsors: Viking Lumber Company, Rollies Bar and Grill, the Belfast Co-op Store, Consumers Fuel, Coyote Moon, Trillium Caterers, Camden National Bank, Cold Mountain Builders, Village Soup, Colonial Plastering, Pam McKean, licensed massage therapist, the Colonial Theater. This is Ando Anderson, and I take you now to Dreamland in the beautiful Colonial Theater.
Freight train goes so fast. Freight train goes so fast. Please don't tell her what train I'm on, so they won't know where I've gone.
I'm Ando Anderson. Welcome to New Vaudeville Revue, the show that celebrates life in Waldo County. And what a place it is. Anyway, you know, we love to joke around about our favorite flying insect, but black flies aren't the only seasonal treat to arouse passions around these parts. There's no disguising the greed in this pair, one coveting nature's bounty, the other protecting her tenuous hold on it.
Oh, hello, neighbor.
Do I know you?
Not yet. I just moved in next to the old Peasley house down the road.
Oh, okay. Yes. Pleased to meet you. I'm Grace.
I'm, Keith. Ain't it a beautiful day? Love that May sunshine.
Oh, yep. Some pleasant out today. Nice shoes.
Oh, thanks. They're my brother's. Say, where you going with that basket there?
Oh, I was just going out to pick some, looking around, you know.
You know, I was just listening to that talk radio there, and they was saying how it's a good time for fiddleheads. But you know, I'm not really from here, and I don't even know what the heck a fiddlehead is. I don't think I've ever even seen a fiddlehead. Do you know about them?
I guess I know a thing or two about them. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Well,
what?
can you tell me about them? You know, what they look like and where you get them and like that?
Oh, so you want to know about fiddleheads, huh? Mm-hmm. Well, they're real hard to catch, okay? Because they're real tricky, and they only come out at night, and then you gotta be real fast, and you gotta be not afraid to pick up the little slimy things.
Are you sure you're talking about fiddleheads? Them talk radio guys made them sound like they was a vegetable or something.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. I think I got a little confused there for a second. Oh, that's night crawlers I was thinking of.
Right.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Fiddleheads, yeah. I was actually going to get some now. I was headed down to the rocks down near Bayside there to rake some in.
Bayside?
Yeah.
You mean down to the shore?
Yep. Just south of the pier there, where you take your big rake and you find a bed of them in there just around the rocks, and you rake them in and you pull them in and you put them in your truck, and then you take them down to the plant and they process them for you and they put them in nice and little neat bags and everything, and geez, it's just such good fun, I'll tell you.
So you're going there now, without your rake and no pickup truck. Are you sure you're not confused again? Just a little bit?
Oh, yeah, well, I was just kind of messing around with you a little bit there. Just having a little fun is all. No offense, neighbor.
So really, where do you get your fiddleheads?
Okay, I'll be serious now. It's just that there's such a precious commodity around here, you know, that I really can't give away all my secrets. There's a spot out in the woods behind Ben and Susan's house where there's a whole grove of fiddlehead trees. And this time of year, the bronzes should be fairly loaded down with these beautiful little swirly berry things. I'll have my basket filled in no time. Yes, I will.
So now they grow on trees, do they? I'm pretty sure that ain't right. I'm pretty sure they said you pick them up off the ground.
Oh, well, so when you mow the lawn, yes, when you mow the lawn, they get pulled up by the mower, and you just go back into the grass piles and you search for them there. Everybody's got them in their lawn, but they never bother to look for them.
Oh, come on. Do you expect me to believe that? I mean, I've been trying to figure this out every year, and you never tell me. I mean, you'll probably never tell me.
Hey, wait a minute. You're not Keith. You're Kate. You've been after my fiddlehead stash forever. I can't believe I fell for that stupid disguise. You've been taking advantage of my good nature, not wanting to offend a new neighbor. Well, I've never seen the like of it. You know, it's a good thing I'm just naturally cautious.
I almost had you this time. I was so close. Darn it.
It's killing you, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, I'm never going to tell. There are some things a woman just doesn't tell, even to her best friends.
Maybe. Well, Grace, I baked a coffee cake this morning. Would you like to come over for a cup of joe?
Oh, sure, Kate, I'd be delighted. I think I'll get my fiddleheads some other time.
Ooh, I'll come with you then.
Oh, I don't think so.
Throughout the history of mankind, crises have plagued the species, from the giant saber-toothed tigers of the Pleistocene era down to the threat of global warming today. The species, life on Earth as we know it, has turned to science to lead us out of the jungle's darkness, out of the fears that besiege us, into the light of understanding, and through understanding into illumination, so that we can find the confidence to solve the myriad problems that we fear. Our man of science, professor scientist, is on the front lines of the war against ignorance, fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. Please welcome Professor Scientist. Professor Scientist, we understand that he's doing some exciting research in the use of fiddleheads in our daily lives.
Oh, yes. The Fiddlehead Advanced Research Team, FART, is doing some incisive work into the common ostrich fern sprout, popularly known as the fiddlehead.
That makes for a rather unfortunate acronym.
Yes, we try to refrain from using it, only the initials FART.
Oh, I see.
No, not OIC, FART.
No, I mean, I understand.
Oh, I see. Oh, there, now I've done it.
Professor, can we discuss your research?
Oh, yes. Well, as overpopulation threatens the worldwide food supply, science is investigating many possibilities for feeding the burgeoning population. And here in Maine, right under our noses, FART, is developing the fiddlehead as a potential foodstuff for the 21st century.
Wow, that's exciting. I've always loved fiddlehead steamed on buttered toast, but I never dreamed that it had possibilities beyond our humble Maine kitchens.
Oh, yes, there are indeed. We've developed a new product called fiddlehead butter, which, as a sandwich spread, could rival the nutritional value of peanut butter, and it has a much more pleasing appearance.
What do you mean?
Well, it has a much less excretory look.
Oh, I see. I understand.
Right. Well, science is also just investigating the mature fiddlehead as a nutritious food for goats, pig, and chicken feed. We are currently trying to find the right supplement to overcome the negative culinary problems.
What problems?
The problem is the animals won't eat it. We've developed a unique force-feeding apparatus, which I agree is also a negative, but we offset this by showing a film of their particular species gambling in the sunshine.
You're letting farm animals into Hollywood slots?
No, it's gamboling, like dancing around merrily.
And that works?
Oh, yes, very well. It makes them happy, and when they are happy, they smile, and when they smile, they're too bit less painful.
Okay. Okay, are there other possibilities?
Well, yes, there's always like art paper made from fiddleheads, or one can make chains of dried fiddleheads for jewelry or Christmas tree decorations, but, sort of a seasonal thing. But there's not much economic value in these things. However, there are two other excellent possibilities.
Yes.
We have isolated a chemical in the fern which may repel the common black fly.
Wow! That would be a boon for us Mainers.
Yes, but it is of not much particular interest to me since I rarely venture far from the laboratory into the out of doors.
So this other possibility is more personal.
Oh, yes. As you know, every year the fiddlehead is relentlessly cut down, and every spring it manages to thrust up through the forest floor, penetrating the steamy wetlands and fathering the generations of baby ferns to come. If we dry it, mix it with a little goat horn or moose antler, we could market it widely as a natural treatment for erectile dysfunction.
Fascinating!
And I may add, without the disturbing side effects of the other treatments of which I'm sure you are well aware.
Yeah, well, thank you, Professor Scientist. This could be super for the Maine economy. Once again, we thank you for getting into the truth and justice in the American way. Professor Scientist, everyone. Guys, we got a song now that was penned by our TV guy, Mr. Ned Leitner. We got all our props now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
props a go-go.
That's it.
Black fly, you sure give me a pain. Black fly, when spring rolls round again.
I take a stroll in the woods just to get some fresh air. The first thing I know, you're in my hair.
Black fly, you're trying to bug me again. Black fly, nothing seems to keep you away. Black fly, for a cure all the money I pay.
Too quick and small to be snapped by my switch. My faded itch like the son of a big rope.
Black fly, you got me scratching again.
Here we go now.
I never thought I'd seek frosty days, but only the cold seems to grab you away.
Black fly, you drive me crazy again.
Here we go. Santa Claus. It's great to be the host of this show. I get to hang out with great musicians, great actors, great writers, all kinds of poets. It's just really nice. And today we get to have a great storyteller come to us today. Please welcome Gussie Vaughn. The last time I saw your performance at the Pie and Story Festival in October, yes, there you go. And it was also recorded by Ned and crew, I think. And I saw the recording of it and saw it that day. And so just to give people a heads up of that, and it's great to have you here today. Thank you.
Turtle lived alongside and in the St. George's River out in South Montville. And so one beautiful spring morning, she got up early, and she'd been out in her yard raking and picking up branches of trees that had fallen down during the winter, and she opened up her flower beds, and she had put in a good day's work, but it was still sunny and warm. And so she decided to go down and just sun herself on the banks of the river and rest for a while. So that's what she was doing, and she saw something come floating down the river, and she could tell it was a tree. So she jumped in the river and she swam out to it, and she said, "It's an apple tree." And she grabbed hold of it and dragged it over to the bank of the river. And she was strong enough to get it up out of the water enough so that it wouldn't wash away, but try as she might, she could not get it up over the bank and into her yard so she could take it to her garden and plant it. And looking at it, it was a young, strong tree, and she figured it ended up in the river because of all of the flooding that had been going on that year. So she wanted to get it back into the ground as fast as she could, and it was clear to her she was going to have help. She'd spent time, she'd walked around the tree and looked at it and thought, she was an independent sort, and she didn't like to ask for help unless she absolutely had to. And once in a while she'd grab onto it and she'd pull, and she just had to admit she was not going to be able to drag that tree uphill. So she started thinking about who she could get to help her. Well, she had a new neighbor up the road, Monkey, and Monkey was from away, of course, and he wasn't very friendly, didn't seem to be, and sometimes he was getting a reputation for being downright cantankerous, and the only time she'd ever really been around him was she ran into him one morning at the Liberty Tool Company, and he was there buying gardening tools, and some of the locals were trying to chat him up and saying, haven't seen you around here before, and he didn't seem to be too thrilled with having that conversation, but somebody said to him, "What was it caused you to move to this area?" And he turned around and he said, "I hate genetically modified organisms, and I heard that you folks don't like them either, and that's why I'm here." Then he turned around, paid for his tools, and walked out. So Turtle wasn't really looking forward to asking him for help, but she was desperate and she wanted to save the tree. So she went to his house and knocked on the door, and when he opened the door, he was in one foul temper. And just looking at him, she could see there was this ring around his neck where all the fur was scratched off, and it was all red and swollen. And even though it looked painful, you could tell Monkey was having a hard time not scratching it. And she said, "Hello, Monkey. I came to ask you if you could do me a favor." "Well, I doubt it. I'm trying to find something to make my neck stop itching and burning." "Well, what happened to your neck, Monkey?" "Well, the first time I worked in my yard after I moved here, I nearly got devoured by these little tiny black things that I'd never seen before. And somebody said they were black flies, and they recommended that I get this thing." And he picks up this piece of mesh netting, and it was designed to go over your head and tie around your neck and keep you from getting bitten by bugs. And so he said, "So I put this thing on and I tied it as tight as I could get it, considering my fur and all, and I went out in the yard and I started working and I started sweating, and those damn things must love sweat because they climbed up under that collar and they got stuck in there and they bit my neck until it felt like it was on fire. And I've been trying to cool it off ever since. So Turtle said, well, Monkey, I understand your problem. Nobody who moves to Maine enjoys meeting the black flies. She says, but if you'll come on over to my house, I'll help you with the black fly bites, and I'll show you what I need help with. So Monkey said, okay, but this better not take long. So Turtle took Monkey to her house, and she said, right here, Monkey, right under the water, right there, there's some clay mud. And so she got some of it and put it on Monkey's neck, and after it cooled down a little bit, she said, see, Monkey, that's an apple tree. I saved it from the river, and I need you to help me carry it up into my garden so I can plant it. And Monkey said, okay, but if I help you with that tree, then I should get a share. And Turtle said, very well. So both Monkey and Turtle together carried the tree up over the bank and into Turtle's yard, and they laid it on the ground, and Turtle said, well, now we need to dig a hole to plant the tree, Monkey. And Monkey said, oh, no! You promised me that if I helped you, we'd share this tree. And Turtle said, well, and so we will. And as soon as it starts to grow apples on it, I'll take half and you'll take half. Monkey said, oh, no, I don't like that idea one bit. I want my half of the tree now. And I don't just want apples in your yard, I want apples in my yard. But Turtle said, Monkey, that's not a good way to share a tree. I don't care! I want my half of the tree now! Very well. So Turtle went and got a saw, and she stood there and watched as Monkey sawed this tree in half. Well, the top half with its new leaves and branches, and it was bushy, and it looked like the best part to him. He said, this top half is mine! And he picked it up and put it over his shoulder and went off to plant it in his own garden. Well, Turtle looked at the stump that was left there, and so she dug a hole and put it in it and spread its roots out and packed some dirt around them, brought some water from the river and watered it. And of course, after a while, under the hot sun, Monkey's half of the tree with no roots withered and died, but eventually some leaves grew on Turtle's half of the tree, and it grew some new branches and got taller, and it took a long time, but eventually it's bloomed, and Turtle started to watch some apples form on top of the tree. And she was so excited, and she watched them all through the season, and finally they started to get ripe. So she tried to climb up the tree. She'd get just an inch or two up and fall back down, and then she decided she'd shake the tree and see if she could get some of them to fall off, and she shook the tree. Didn't work, and she really didn't want to bruise up the apples anyway. So she decided she'd go and get Monkey to help her again. So she brought him back to her garden, and she said, see, Monkey, there's apples on the tree now, and if you'll climb up there and get them, I'll share them with you. Okay, said Monkey. So in an instant, he was up at the top of the tree, and so Turtle's waiting for him to throw down some apples. But instead of doing that, he just finds a comfortable branch he can sit on and lean against the trunk of the tree, and he just starts sitting up there eating one apple after another. And Turtle's waiting, and she says, but Monkey, why don't you throw down a couple of apples for me? And Monkey says, no! You tricked me by giving me the half of the tree that wouldn't grow, so I'm just going to sit up here and eat my fill. And Turtle said, but Monkey, there's lots of apples. Why don't you just throw down a couple? So he had a handful of apple cores by that time, and he threw them down at her and said, take those! How do you like that? Well, Turtle was slow to anger, but that made her mad. And she had some beautiful raspberry bushes she'd been cultivating for years, and she had some gorgeous roses, and she had some good pruners too. So she went over and she clipped some of those briars and brambles and branches, and she put them all around under the base of the tree. And Monkey wasn't paying any attention. He was still up there eating apples. So finally he ate all the apples he could hold, and he decides he'll get down out of the tree, and he jumps down. Ow! 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 And Turtle had gone over and hid behind a branch, and she goes, she just couldn't help laughing to hear him yelling and hopping around like that. Well, he heard her, and he went over and yanked her out from behind the bush and turned her on her back, and she's laying there, and her legs are just helplessly waving in the air, and he says, "Oh, you're gonna pay now! I'm gonna punish you for what you've done to me! How should I do it? Should I take you on top of a high mountain and leave you laying there on your back? Or maybe I should just dig a deep hole and drop you in it. Or, you know, I could tie you to your precious apple tree." Well, Turtle had to think really fast. So she said, "Well, Monkey, I wouldn't blame you if you took me on top of a high mountain and just left me there on my back. And I wouldn't even care if you dig a deep hole and drop me in it. And it'd be all right with me if you tied me to my apple tree. But Monkey, please don't throw me in that river." "That's what you fear most? The river? Then that's what you're gonna get!" And so he goes over and gets her, and he walks out to the bank of the river, and he heaves to and fro and throws her out, and she sails out and sinks into the deepest part of the river. And he's standing on the bank of the river, thinking he'll never see Turtle again, when her head pops up out of the river, and she says, "Thank you, friend Monkey. You didn't know the river was my home, did you? And by the way, Monkey, remember, nothing grows without a root of some kind. Throw away your bug baffler and put down some roots. Waldo County's a great place to be." And then she went under the water and disappeared again.
Thank you, Gussie. That's wonderful. And now, a word from our sponsors.
When I see our wedding day,
Sea breeze, warm and sunny,
only tasteful wedding toasts,
dignified yet funny,
Joey in his little tux,
Peggy with her flowers,
all our friends for once in church.
We'll open gifts for hours.
But what about the food, the cake, the organization? If it's not perfect, I can't endure it. Who shall we trust for our extra special day?
How about Martha Stewart?
No! Trillium caterers, there for your party needs. Elegant Trillium, planning down to a T. Trillium caterers, there for your party needs. We can trust Trillium, planning down to a T.
Big tent wine bar, big tent caviar, and the wedding cake too.
Feast our imagination on the tasty presentation of the quite delectable food.
Birthdays, bar mitzvahs, anniversaries, graduations, any party's our style.
Absolutely, positively cheerful and professional service with a smile. Trillium caterers, there for your party needs. Elegant Trillium, planning down to a T.
Thank you so much. We'd like to, this is the end of this episode. We'd like to encourage you to please join us for our next episode. It's
Sooner Than You Think,
when we'll have Lidsey Balchelder and Mandi Locke and more of this great band, more of these great actors. Thank you so much. This show is made possible with the generous support of the following sponsors: Viking Lumber Company, Rollies Bar and Grill, the Belfast Co-op Store, Consumers Fuel, Coyote Moon, Trillium Caterers, Camden National Bank, Cold Mountain Builders, Village Soup, Colonial Plastering, Pam McKean, licensed massage therapist, the Colonial Theater. The new Vaudeville Revue is recorded in front of a live audience on the first Sunday of each month. For ticket information, call me, Ando Anderson, at 322-7123. Hope to see you there.